Have you ever noticed how some things, when shared, don't make life easier, they make it heavier? After 65, we've earned the right to speak our truth. But sometimes, keeping a few truths close to the chest isn't about secrecy, it's about peace. Emotional freedom doesn't come from telling everyone everything. It comes from knowing when to protect your own peace. Maybe you felt it. You share a worry, and suddenly your family is anxious, hovering, or even giving advice you didn't ask for. Or you open up about something from the past, and instead of feeling lighter, you feel misunderstood. Today we're going to gently talk about 5 powerful secrets you might want to keep to yourself, not because they're shameful, but because they're yours. By the end of this video, you'll feel clearer, lighter, and more in control of your emotional well-being. Let's walk through these moments of wisdom together. If this speaks to your heart, go ahead and hit subscribe. We're building a caring community where life after 50 just keeps getting better. Leave a comment with your thoughts or stories. Your voice matters. And when you like or share this, you help someone else feel lighter, too. Stick around, because what's next could bring you peace of mind. Let's dive in. Number 1. Fear of becoming a burden. Avoid sharing. Fear of becoming a burden is one of the quietest but most common worries. Among people over 65, it often surfaces during moments of reflection after a doctor's appointment, a hospital visit, or simply while watching younger family members juggle their responsibilities. This fear isn't irrational, it's deeply human. Many seniors worry that if their health declines or they need extra support, they'll disrupt the lives of those they love most. They picture their children feeling overwhelmed, their spouses quietly exhausted, or their grandchildren growing up with memories shaped by caretaking stress. But while this concern may come from a place of love, speaking it aloud can sometimes do more harm than good. When older adults express this fear directly to family members, it often triggers an emotional chain reaction. Children may feel an immediate sense of guilt or helplessness, unsure how to respond. They might insist, "Of course, you're not a burden," but internally begin worrying more about the future. Some may even overcompensate, checking in too frequently, becoming overly involved in decisions, or offering help when none is needed. In time, this can shift the dynamic from one of mutual respect to subtle pity or worry-driven control. The older adult may begin to notice changes in tone, fewer honest conversations, or family members trying to protect them from reality. Emotional freedom depends on being seen for one's full humanity, as someone fragile, but as someone with agency, resilience, and value. Some geriatric counselors explain that discussing fears about being a burden can backfire because it shifts relationships toward obligation instead of connection. What's often more beneficial is communicating needs clearly and respectfully, without the emotional weight of guilt or anxiety. For example, instead of saying, "I don't want to become a burden," it may be better to say, "I may need some help with this, would you be open to figuring out the best way together?" This keeps the conversation grounded in mutual support, rather than fear. It's not about hiding vulnerability, but about choosing how and when to express it so that it leads to practical collaboration, instead of emotional strain. Doctors who specialize in aging and family dynamics also note that repeatedly bringing up this fear can become self-fulfilling. It can create distance in relationships, as younger family members begin to see their loved one more as a source of concern than companionship. Over time, this alters the emotional rhythm of the household. Instead of enjoying shared moments, people may become preoccupied with worry, by keeping this specific fear private or discussing it only with a therapist, counselor, or support group. Older adults can protect the emotional health of both themselves and their family. These professionals are trained to listen without reacting emotionally and can offer strategies to maintain independence and dignity. Choosing not to voice this fear does not mean denying it. It means respecting its weight and choosing the right space for it to be held. Emotional freedom, especially later in life, often comes from boundaries, what to share, and with whom. And sometimes, the most freeing thing isn't saying everything out loud, but trusting in your own quiet strength to carry what matters most. Hold on, this next part could really make you think. Ever felt like you needed help, but didn't want to ask because it might change how they see you? What's coming next may surprise you and free you. Number 2, regrets about your past. Avoid sharing. Regrets about the past often grow louder with age. Missed chances, difficult relationships, or choices that once seemed small may suddenly feel more significant. It's natural to look back and wonder how life could have turned out differently. Some older adults feel regret about how they raised their children, the career path they chose, or relationships that ended without closure. These thoughts can weigh heavily. But while it may feel like sharing these regrets with family would be healing, doing so often has the opposite effect, especially when shared with children or close relatives. When older adults reveal deep regrets, their loved ones often internalize them, even when they weren't the cause. Children might hear a parent say, "I wish I'd done more with my life," and walk away feeling like they weren't enough. A remark like, "I should have never stayed in that marriage," might unintentionally diminish the entire history of a family. The intention may be reflection or even intimacy, but the result can be pain, confusion, or guilt. Family members, especially adult children, tend to take on these confessions as emotional weight they were never meant to carry. Psychologists who work with aging adults often advise caution when it comes to expressing personal regrets within the family. Regret is a private emotion that, when shared carelessly, can shift the emotional balance of relationships. It can make others feel responsible for the emotional pain of someone they love. Instead of connection, it can create discomfort. What was meant as a moment of honesty can turn into a conversation filled with awkward silence or forced reassurances. And once it's out there, it can't be taken back. There is also the risk that regret, when spoken too often or too intensely, can become part of a person's identity in the eyes of their family. Instead of being seen as wise, resilient, and strong, they may be seen as someone who is stuck in the past or full of sorrow. That can be difficult for both sides. Loved ones want to believe that their parent or elder is at peace, or at least content. When that belief is shaken, it can ripple through the family dynamic, sometimes leading to emotional distance or even frustration. That doesn't mean regrets should be buried or ignored. They deserve space, just not always with family. Mental health professionals, clergy members, or trusted peers in the same stage of life can often offer the right kind of listening ear. These are the spaces where unfiltered reflection can be safe and meaningful. In some cases, writing regrets in a private journal or letter that is never sent can offer the same relief without the unintended consequences. Processing regret does not always require another person's validation. It often just requires honesty with oneself and time. Emotional freedom after 65 often means learning what to share and what to hold quietly, with care. Regret can be part of your story without becoming the story your family remembers. And in protecting them from those heavy reflections, you protect the best parts of your connection, presence, love, and the shared hope of living each day forward, not backward. This next point is often overlooked, but it's important. But if the best way to heal an old regret is to stop talking about it, the next secret may challenge how you think about honesty. Number 3. Details of your finances. Avoid sharing. Discussing personal finances after 65 can be delicate. While some level of transparency is necessary for practical planning, oversharing, especially when it involves financial worries, can complicate relationships and increase emotional stress for everyone involved. Many older adults, particularly those living on fixed incomes or navigating rising healthcare costs, worry about outliving their savings or becoming dependent on others. But sharing these concerns openly with family, especially children or grandchildren, can create burdens they're not equipped to carry. Financial anxieties often come with strong emotions like fear, shame, or frustration. When these feelings are spoken aloud without a plan or solution, they can transfer directly to loved ones. Children may feel responsible to help, even when they're not financially able to. Others may respond by trying to control or manage your money in ways that aren't welcome. In some cases, it can lead to awkwardness, resentment, or even conflict. What was shared in the hope of receiving comfort might instead create tension or distance. Some financial advisors who work with older adults stress that sharing every financial detail, especially untested fears, is rarely helpful unless it's part of a clear, forward-thinking plan. Family members, even those with the best intentions, are not always trained to respond to financial complexity. They may give emotional reactions when what's needed is logical strategy. For example, telling a child, "I'm scared I'll run out of money," might provoke anxiety or guilt, rather than constructive ideas. That same concern shared with a certified planner or eldercare advocate could result in a helpful budget, long-term care strategy, or benefits checkup. There's also the emotional dynamic to consider. Once financial stress is introduced into family conversations, it can color every interaction. Children may begin to treat their parent with worry instead of warmth. Grandchildren may hear tension between the generations. Family vacations, birthdays, or holidays might become moments of quiet discomfort if money becomes a shared anxiety. Protecting loved ones from these concerns can help preserve joy in relationships and allow interactions to be rooted in connection rather than concern. Of course, there are situations where some financial information must be shared, such as when naming a power of attorney, discussing wills or estate plans, or arranging for long-term care. In those cases, experts recommend keeping the tone focused and clear. Rather than diving into financial fears, it helps to present the facts with a calm mindset and to focus on solutions. The goal is to share only what is needed when it is needed, and in a way that empowers rather than alarms. Emotional freedom often comes from choosing wisely what to carry alone and what to share. When it comes to finances, less is often more. By keeping financial concerns in the hands of professionals or trusted advisors, and away from emotionally vulnerable family spaces, older adults can maintain both dignity and control. Silence, in this case, isn't secrecy, it's stewardship. And in choosing not to share every fear, seniors protect not just their peace of mind, but the emotional well-being of those they love. Why? Money talk can open doors or create walls. What's next might change how you talk about your future. Number 4. Early health anxieties or untested concerns. Avoid sharing as people age, they often develop strong perspectives about the choices and behaviors of those around them, especially within the family. It's natural to notice patterns, repeat mistakes, or tensions that never quite resolve. But after 65, openly voicing negative opinions about children, in-laws, or even grandchildren can quietly damage trust, shift relationships, and reduce emotional freedom within the family unit. While the intention may be to express concern, frustration, or honesty, the result is often misunderstanding or division. Families are built on emotional threads, many of them fragile. Criticizing how a son is raising his kids, or making comments about a daughter-in-law's decisions, may feel justified, but it rarely leads to change. Instead, it leads to defensiveness, hurt, or withdrawal. Some adult children begin to distance themselves, no longer feeling safe to share openly. Others may comply with surface politeness, but beneath that lies tension that never quite fades. In many families, one negative opinion can echo for years, affecting how birthdays, holidays, or even quick phone calls feel. Relationship counselors, who work with multi-generational families, often warn about the long-term damage that comes from sharing unsolicited opinions or judgments. Older adults, especially parents or grandparents, often occupy a respected position in the family. Their words carry weight. That's why even a passing comment like, "You've gained weight," or "You let your kids walk all over you," can leave lasting emotional marks. Younger family members may smile and nod, but inside, they may feel unseen or judged. And over time, that creates distance, not closeness. There's also a hidden emotional cost. When seniors become known for their criticisms or complaints, it shifts how others relate to them. Instead of being viewed as wise or comforting, they may be seen as negative or difficult. This shift can reduce the amount of emotional support they receive, limit the openness of conversations, and leave them feeling more isolated. What began as a desire to speak honestly ends up creating emotional walls that weren't there before. That doesn't mean older adults should silence themselves completely or pretend everything is fine when it's not. But the key is choosing what's worth saying and what's better left unsaid. Not every opinion needs to be expressed, especially when it doesn't build understanding or connection. Some thoughts can be shared privately with a neutral third party, a counselor, support group, or trusted peer, rather than within the family itself. This protects the emotional balance while still honoring the need to process feelings. Emotional freedom, especially in later life, is not just about saying what's on your mind. It's about knowing when silence preserves peace better than words. By avoiding the urge to share negative opinions about family members, older adults create space for grace, patience, and continued closeness. The quiet choice not to criticize becomes a gift, one that strengthens bonds, keeps conversations open, and allows relationships to flourish on the foundation of love rather than judgment. This next point is often overlooked, but it's important. The next time you notice something in your body that feels off, pause. The next secret is about how silence can be healing. Number 5. Old family resentments or conflicts. Avoid sharing. After 65, health concerns naturally become a bigger part of life. New diagnoses, unfamiliar symptoms, and regular appointments can bring a mix of fear, uncertainty, and frustration. It's human to want to talk about these things with those closest, especially family. But sharing medical worries without context, clarity, or a plan often leads to emotional strain instead of support. Family members may feel helpless, overwhelmed, or even afraid, not knowing what's real, what's urgent, or what's just part of aging. Saying things like, "I've been feeling off lately," or "I think something serious is wrong," without any follow-up information can unintentionally trigger fear, especially in adult children. Many feel powerless when a parent or loved one shares vague or alarming health fears without explanation. They might rush to worst-case assumptions, lose sleep, or begin treating the person differently out of fear or guilt. This changes the emotional dynamic in subtle but lasting ways, from relaxed closeness to constant concern. Some doctors advise patients to process their own feelings and gather complete information before involving family in medical matters. This means getting clear diagnoses, understanding what's being done, and knowing what kind of support, if any, will be needed. It's far more effective to say, "I've been diagnosed with something, but I have a care plan and a good team," than to share uncertainty that only multiplies everyone's anxiety. Families are better equipped to help when they're given clarity, not confusion. Sharing too much too early before knowing what's going on can also lead to miscommunication. A minor symptom mentioned in passing might become a major family worry, or worse, it might lead loved ones to feel shut out later if things turn out to be more serious and details were withheld. It's a difficult balance. Saying too much or too little both have consequences. That's why grounding these conversations in facts, timing, and emotional readiness is so important. There's also a danger in defining yourself by your ailments. When health concerns dominate conversations, loved ones may begin to see the person less as the vibrant individual they are, and more as someone who is always sick. This can limit the depth of relationships, reduce how often others reach out, and shift the tone of interactions from mutual connection to caretaking, even when no actual care is needed. Protecting one's identity from becoming wrapped in illness is key to maintaining dignity and emotional freedom in later years. Of course, there are times when medical discussions are necessary, when family needs to be part of the care process, or when decisions need to be made together. Open and honest conversation is vital. But even then, choosing a calm moment, clear language, and a thoughtful tone helps everyone stay grounded. Leading with, "Here's what's going on, and here's what I'm doing about it," offers reassurance and builds confidence in your ability to manage your own well-being. Emotional freedom after 65 isn't about hiding your health, it's about sharing it wisely. Avoiding unnecessary medical worry in family conversations keeps relationships rooted in strength, not stress. It allows older adults to lead with stability, reassure their loved ones, and preserve the closeness that thrives best in calm, not chaos. They say the past is a place of reference, not residence. But wait till you hear why this next part might be the most freeing of all. If today's message gave you something to think about, or even a little peace of mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're building a thoughtful community here where folks over 50 can share, learn, and grow stronger together. Your questions and stories in the comments help others feel less alone, and your support helps spread the kind of wisdom the world needs more of. So don't be a stranger. We're in this chapter of life together, and there's still so much good ahead.